Hello, everybody. Thank you, everyone who's joining us live for being here. And thank you, everyone who's watching the recording. We appreciate you all very much. So today we're going to be talking about moon phases and what the planets are up to. So I believe Christine will start with some.
Well, why don't you start today? I usually start. Get in there.
Let's switch it up a little bit. So do we want to talk about the full moon energy that's still lingering a little bit?
I think so. I think it's a good idea.
All right. So we had a full moon in Virgo. Just a few days ago. So we're going to see what energies came along with that. I personally was feeling very peaceful for this full moon. Mm-hmm. It felt kind of like more grounding and relaxed. I know some full moons kind of give me like a giddy energy, or it kind of varies depending on what sign it's in. All right. Oh, we have some Virgo energy coming up in here, and some Taurus as well. So there's a sense of moving forward and feeling more comfortable where you are in your life and in your own skin. You might have people around you lifting you up at this time and like encouraging you and helping you. So this is the Virgo card we have. You are good enough. So I'm just feeling like you're just kind of feeling yourself. It's feeling confident, but like a quiet confidence, just more sure of your path and what you're doing. This does feel very grounded, like planning energy, getting things in order, just like gradually and at your own pace, planning your next steps for moving like career, or I feel like some people just really feel like they need to get their life together, and there's things that they wish they could implement in their life that they just haven't had the motivation to, and that's kind of coming into small steps of the planning process. It feels like it's a logical, grounded process, but coming from a place like the heart space, things that you truly desire and have an emotional attachment to. Those are the things that you are now taking action towards in a more calculated manner. Maybe because in the past you came from a more emotional space, and the actual process of trying to get there was more chaotic. So you decided to take a different approach and get a little more practical. The Virgo energy is, I feel, the like slow and steady at your own pace, and the Taurus energy in here I feel is the more like plowing through. It's time to take action. See if there's a couple more messages. Fire. Something sparking a fire in you that you're ready to move forward towards. Freedom. The dragonfly, seeing through illusions and ready to break free of your own restrictions. Maybe feeling a little more intuitive here with the starseed elemental. I feel like that kind of plays into the coming from the heart space and coming from like your core and your soul of what you truly want and desire to happen in the transformation. This feels like the process, but also the end goal is for something to change. Small changes leading up to one big change is what that feels like there. So yeah, that's what we have for the full, what I have for the full moon energy that we might still be feeling right now.
Well, it makes sense that the vast majority of people would feel more grounded when the full moon is in an earth sign. It just makes sense. And Virgo is more analytical than it is anything else. So there was, kind of ushered in a full moon cycle of trying to discern what is best for us. And that in the moon comes in the form of emotions and in terms of the environment that you surround yourself with, and also creating situations where you feel safe. And the thing about the moon in Virgo, that was like, the moon is all about your past experiences that come through your feelings. It's about how you intake emotional experience and how you process. And Virgo is about analyzing. So when has analyzing your emotions ever really not caused some kind of stress? Because you can't analyze emotions. I mean, you can, but good luck coming up with I have to give a link to somebody, so give me a second. But it also, it can maybe, for people who may have been living in a very emotional world or have been living in an emotional world, the moon in Virgo can be good because it can kind of take you a little bit into your headspace and say, well, why have I been feeling these things for so long? Am I doing what's best for me? And it also, while the moon was traveling through Virgo, it made a very positive transit with Mars and Taurus right now, another earth sign. So I feel like in general, it was just a more grounding energy. And the Virgo asked you to use your brain a little bit and to see what is good, what is bad, and everything in between. And Mars and Taurus said, all right, it said, we finally got to get up and figure out how to do this. And when Mars and Taurus both do things, it's usually in a very tactile, physical way. So people may feel like they have to create healthier emotional boundaries in a physical or a sensual way. So it could be multiple things. The first thing I think about is I've been talking to a ton of people who are paying more attention to their diets than ever, which is great. So since most people associate Taurus with cooking and food, I think of that, but I also think of physical activity. But in Taurus, the physical activity is never crazy. It's never too much at one time. It's a slow, gradual buildup. So it feels to me that, nobody's really rushing into anything that's going to help change their life. Most people are taking a pretty practical view. And as such, it has more potential for staying power. However, people are creating a better emotional environment for themselves, it has the potential to be long-term or permanent, which is a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
That's what I got to say.
I like that. Okay.
Oh, someone's trying to come in.
No, say that. Like you didn't say that I could pull it off.
Hello.
It's a 978 person, so I assume that's your person.
It's a Nicole.
Okay.
It's a Nicole.
Hi.
Yes, Wednesday's sleeping on my shoulder, so I didn't want to wake her. So I'm gonna get on my laptop as soon as she decides to boogie on our way for me.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, we're just moving on to some new moon energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
What have we got leading up to the new moon? So this is the part where we kind of like are just giving general readings. So I just want to remind people that you might want to mute your side of things. Also because it's being recorded and it's going to be put on the internet. And so you may or may not want your voice or opinion or anything in public. So I just want to make sure that in case,
Yeah, no worries. I'll mute away.
I mean, you can talk all you want later. I just don't want people's privacy to be invaded unknowingly.
All right. So our new moon coming up on what day? I don't remember.
I don't
But
know because I just wrote it out and now I don't remember.
it's in Pisces though.
It is, but that doesn't mean I automatically know.
I don't either, but it's still. I feel like that's why
I think it's the 13th, but let me triple check here because that almost sounds like it's too far away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've been known to be very wrong. Nope, it's the 13th. So next Saturday.
Perfect. New moon in Pisces. In
Yeah.
Pisces season.
What could this all possibly mean?
Really emotional things.
Yeah, so it kind of really depends on the person, the person's chart, obviously. And anytime we have a new moon, the moon is always in the same sign as the sun. So just something for our listeners to keep in mind. So it's always going to be a little bit of a saturation of energies. And new moons represent times for new cycles. And a cycle that starts in Pisces starts from a place of compassion, of empathy, and perhaps even a place of lack of boundaries, which is kind of the theme that's been cropping up for just in general, just this cycle, new to full, a full to new moon cycle in general, and then new to new, because the next new moon is going to be in Aries, and Aries is very well known for creating boundaries. So what we're looking towards here is trying to figure out, like, where our feelings begin and other people's individual and collective ends, and how to, again, we're trying to create our own safe spaces here, so we don't have to rely on other people to know what triggers us, because that is just, it's nice to be aware and to try not to talk like an asshole, but the fact is that you can't expect other people to be able to know all the things that are going to upset you. So this is where we learn how to create our own, it's not just boundaries or a thicker skin, it's just like understanding that your world is your world, and what other people say or do is about them, and it's not all about you. It's not all about you. Sometimes it is. What do the cards have to say, Amanda? Could you tell us?
Yes. It seems that this new moon is kind of playing off the full moon we had a little bit. We got one of the same cards here, the Taurus energy.
More
Your
Taurus
dreams need a
energy.
practical plan. So that is like the still kind of chasing your goals type of energy that we had with the full moon.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, I'm just doing something.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. I'm just going to take you off video because this video is being posted on YouTube and I don't want to infringe on your privacy.
Exposing people.
I just feel, I just feel like that's important, because especially if people work in the public, right? Like I do sometimes, and like, I know this is kind of going off, but like when you do anything in the public, like you teach, like I do, or like you do anything performance wise, you are a target for stalkers. It's just true.
Oh my God.
It's true. It sucks, but it's true. So anyway, so you were saying that the new moon is going to play off of the Virgo full moon energy. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's because we got a repeat card here and it's giving me the same feeling. But there is more of like a Pisces feeling to it for sure, of more watery, more like an anything's possible, like I have all these options, and kind of like shape shifting into what you want to be and out of what you don't want to be, and it feels very fluid. I do get a sense of people worrying a little more. Um, there's just a little more anxiety. I feel like it's because you're like implementing a lot more changes in your life that's causing upheaval of things that you've gotten really comfortable in. So that just naturally sparks anxiety for even like unrelated situations. And I feel like there's a lot of worry about the people in one's life and making sure that they are safe and secure while you make these changes, if that makes sense. Like you may have family members that you're taking care of, or that are relying on you, and you're like, well, I'm just going to make a quick career change to a totally different field. Um, excuse me. And so you might have some worry about, or they have some worry about that as well. Just these bigger life changes that you could be making.
May I ask you a question?
I suppose.
Could in some of this, because it's dealing with Pisces energy, which does tend to create more worry in general, but also because there's this tendency to listen to what other people want more than you. So I just want to know, do you see like where people that are particularly high in Pisces energy want to make changes, but the people around them don't want them to because it will inconvenience them, like that sort of thing?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah, that makes sense for, yeah, that would definitely make sense. That because I think especially people who are very heavily Pisces influenced are more in tune with other people's energies. So even if they don't outright say what you're doing worries me, they can feel it.
mm-hmm.
And that brings in a lot of anxiety. There's also the anxiety of like, you have a spouse or family member or children that you live with, and there's that like, well, I'm about to change everybody's lives, and there's a lot of anxiety around what other people are going to think, and just not wanting to rock the boat and that kind of energy. But it does feel like the changes being made are, it's like you're finally taking charge of your own life and doing something that's really right for you. And while there is a sense of worry around the people around you, there's also a sense of, well, you're just going to deal with it.
Yeah. Okay.
This is still happening. Feel one more card wanted to come out, and then we can move forward.
Oh, there it
is.
is.
Oh, yes, I love this card, mostly because it has a bat on it.
Nice.
But it's rebirth, which definitely makes sense of a lot of things are changing. It feels like evolving into a new phase of your life and stepping into something that's a little more comfortable. And that makes more sense for this period in your life.
Cool.
So that is what I have there. It's kind of intense.
It is intense. Well, and you have to think that, you know, the planets and or whatever you want to, however you want to attribute this, have been really conspiring for the past year. Like so many people have had to change things. And I know I, for one, am trying to change the whole, you know, trajectory of how I make money to be less one-on-one, because the one-on-one stuff is not getting back to work. And I know a lot of families have had to change things because now their family dynamic is all screwed up because one person is working from, or, you know, whatever it is. Like it's, I think a lot of people are going through that. And what I'm going to add to that, because I feel like this goes along with the astrology, but a little bit of what we were talking about pre-recording is like today, Mars is in Taurus, 29 degrees, but tomorrow it's going to be in Gemini. Actually, more likely the 5th, but either way, it's in it's going into Gemini. And so when Mars goes from Taurus to Gemini, this is what's going to happen. So Mars energies are very direct and very masculine based. So anything that's associated with masculinity is Mars. It's ambition, it's physical sexuality. rather than, sensuality. It's how you go about getting things. It's not really what motivates you. That's your sun sign, but your Mars sign tells you how you act upon your motivations. So Mars goes from Taurus, which is a bull, and bulls, as you know, don't exactly act quickly. I mean, they can be, once they're going, they can be very agile. If you've ever watched them well, not that I love watching this, but if you've watched them with the races and stuff, but they're also very hard to stop. And now Taurus has gotten some momentum in Mars, and it's going to switch gears into Gemini, which is very flighty, and it's very mental, where Taurus is extremely sensual and body oriented, and Gemini is all in your head. It's a lot of nervous energy, it's a lot of information, it's a lot and it's very fickle, and it doesn't really have a focus other than what is getting its attention at that moment. I'm going to add to this that we currently have Mercury, which is the planet of communication and information and assimilation of information, and Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion. It's also how we relate to people, and it tells a lot about what our basic belief systems work around. They're together in the same, they're in Aquarius, and they're conjoining. So what this means is that information is blowing up. Like, we're getting all sorts of, we're starting to learn that information being fed to us is coming at us in excess. Like, some of us have already known this. But because Jupiter is there, Jupiter always makes everything bigger. So it's basically creating confusion in a way when you think about it, because you get bombarded and you don't know what to think. So what do? Well, I'll just think what everyone else is thinking. Some people are like that. But the information is coming through in a very Aquarian way. What's Aquarian way? Well, Aquarian is technology. It's anything that's cutting edge and advanced. So of course the internet is bombarding us, but hey, we've been getting bombarded by internet information for a while. But what the Mars energy is going to do is it's actually going to make it a little bit frantic for a while, and then as Mercury moves into Pisces, then we're going to start insulating ourselves. So there's going to be a period of, whoa, look at all this information coming at me. What do I do with it? And then it's going to be, I can't deal. So what the Mars and Gemini is going to do is it's going to help us talk about what we've learned. We're going to discuss it with other people. We're going to start reaching out and looking for new perspectives, because we need new perspectives. We're going to start acting on the questions that we have. So that's a good thing. And Gemini energy is a little frantic, but I think it's going to work out well enough for the time being until we hit spring, which is my birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday.
Shut up. Shut up. I can say that because she's my sister. So that's what's going on right now. I would like to go into the future and literally, as we hit the day of the new moon, Mars will have been settled into Gemini for a while, but then we're going to hit a lot of Pisces energy. Mercury, Sun, and Venus will all be in Pisces. And yes, they will all be cuddling up on one another on the new moon. They actually are going to be within the amount of degrees that we can say that they're cuddling together. Also, it's called a conjunction, but for the layman, I like to say cuddling. So as the Sun, Mercury, and Venus are all in the same sign of Pisces, it's going to be a time of investigating our emotions from a perspective of what's our motivation? What is our motivation for feeling? Which sounds silly, but because we're still working on the idea that every emotion is valid, and yes, men can feel sadness, and yes, women can feel anger, and it doesn't make the guy a wimp, and it doesn't make the woman a bitch, like stuff like that. So so Pisces likes to blur boundaries, hence why we don't have very good ones most of the time. And so hopefully the boundaries are going to start blurring in those areas where we're starting to really eschew stereotypes that are just very hurtful. You know, they don't do anybody any good. And so while we work with the new moon creating boundaries as well, I think that we're going to see things from an empathetic level and from a big picture, meaning instead of looking at one statement and saying that person is this, that person is that, we're going to start realizing that people are nuanced and people will say stupid shit sometimes, and it doesn't make them bad people. Just like some people will, you know, sound very intelligent, but actually be really dumb. So we're going to start looking into the idea that people are more than just one moment in time. And this is going to progress when Jupiter goes into Pisces later this year as well. So this is what we have to look forward to, which is like opening our minds. But we need to also make sure they're not so open that we don't know what our opinions are. So for those of us that can tune in to just about everything going on, that's our work. Like, what do we think amidst all of what everybody else is thinking and saying?
Yeah, that hits. I feel that on a deep level.
And then there are people who aren't going to be hit too much by the Pisces energy in that way, where like, you know, they're actually going to get a dose of empathy and compassion that they need, that they, you know, some people just lack it. They don't come built in with it. You know, I came out of the box like that, but some people come out of the box with more chutzpah than I came out with. So, you know, we all got different things. And it's going to be a good dose for humanity in general. Okay. So be kind with your friends or your neighbors or your family members that come across as a little ignorant and one-sided. Like, they're going to start to open up. But you don't open up by being beat over the head with somebody else's opinion, right? You open up by having somebody else listen and ask questions. Listen, ask questions. That's how that works.
Very true.
And you might not even come to a consensus, but who gives a shit? You know, as long as you can listen to people. That's all we want. Isn't that all we want? We just want to be listened to and loved.
Yep. Those are the pillars.
Those are the pillars. Do you have anything that you want to close with, Miss Amanda?
Things are falling out, so I guess so.
Okay. Tell me. Tell
Guess
us.
they want to talk.
All right.
Um,
And then after this, we will, if anybody wants to throw in their personal question, we will be taking those in like 2 or 3 minutes. So, all right.
right. So what I'm getting here is spirit relaying some like what you need to know for these energies overall, not specifically related. This feels like for like the next month's time. So we have, this one stood out to me the most. Hold your vision. With especially what Christine was just talking about with all that Pisces and the boundaries and everything like that, things can get a bit chaotic, a little too watery, a little too whirlpooly. There can be some confusion, and it's kind of, this card is just kind of remind you not to get too swept up in any one thing. Something can feel super big to you, but really it's minor, it's small. You don't need to put that much energy into it. This is all like, it feels like externally influenced things that you kind of just need to let happen and then move on rather than hold on to them and get swept up by it. Oh, we have bring love into the situation, as you were talking about, with compassion and understanding and everything like that. So yeah, I feel like that is just reiterating and reinforcing that that's going to be something that's really important, is holding a place of compassion for people, and you don't have to love someone or even agree with someone to want the best for them. And it's like someone's opinions really differ from yours, and you just cannot understand, or like they're just, in your eyes, in the eyes of others, like not a good person. Wish compassion and empathy on them, wish the best for them, instead of, all the other things that you could be wishing for them.
You know what else is a good practice for that is in my world anyways is I like to get to know the people that are like that, because there's always a really big story as to why people become very close-minded about stuff. And I always feel like you gotta learn a little bit about that person, like what triggers them to be so stonewalled about certain things. Because that children don't come out of the womb all opinionated. Like they had to learn it from some trauma probably. And if you can see like where they have experienced things that, we've all experienced something, that doesn't mean you're going to suddenly be like, oh, I agree with you now, but at least you can sit there and be like, you're human too. All right, I get it. I don't know. My opinion.
Everyone respond, like you could have gone through the same situations as another person and they came out totally different. It's just everybody responds to their life events in different ways.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I overanalyze people's traumas and pick the crap out of their souls.
It's fascinating.
It's fun. All right. And there's a lot of blue and purple in here.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the third eye chakra. So they're definitely like what I was tapping into with the new moon and the full moon is some sort of like switch flip, some sort of awakening, some sort of like sudden knowing this is what I have to do. Something that could be divinely guided for you. And we have confidence here with the Leo energy. We have more blue and purple coming in. It's everywhere. That's
everywhere.
I literally, let me show you how everywhere it is. We have all this blue and purple. We have throat chakra, third eye chakra, crown chakra.
Yeah. Which makes sense because there's a lot of air energy going on, but there's also a lot of water energy. So what happens when you put air and water together?
Bubbles.
Rid of bubbles. Yay. Are you ready to open this up for individual questions yet? Because if so, we can close the recording of the video. And
let me do a little
we'll be here again on March 17th at St. Patrick's Day. So bring your alcohol or whatever, bring your soda bread.
Corned beef. Bring your leprechauns and your green stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll wear green.
I will find something green to wear. So thank you everybody who is still live with us. Thank you again for being here. We will move on to the personal reading section of this, and thank you everybody who's watching the recording. We appreciate it, and we will see you next time.